From Mandan, North Dakota, across the street from the Morton County Courthouse and Jail, this is Democracy Now!
We hunt from these lands. We eat from these lands. We live here. Could you protect them while they destroy it? What you gonna do when there's no more grass growing, no more river flowing, no more wildlife, no more game to hunt? What you gonna do?
We're less than an hour from the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation and the camps where thousands are resisting the Dakota Access Pipeline.
They're calling this peaceful prayer a riot. They're calling us the terrorists. They're the ones who are armed. These are unarmed men, women, and children who want nothing more than protect their own waters and protect it for all future generations.
We'll look at the crackdown against the pipeline resistors, including the use of strip search in the Morton County Jail, even when people are facing minor misdemeanor charges like disorderly conduct.
We had to take my clothes off and then, I don't know, basically...
Cavity search?
No, not a cavity search, but I had to squat and cough. That's what she said. That's
Dr. Sarah Jumping Eagle, a pediatrician at the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. We'll speak with the chair of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, Dave Archambault, and with Honor the Earth founder, Winona LaDuke. And I head to court today on charges related to the Labor Day weekend coverage of Dakota Access Pipeline security guards unleashing dogs and pepper spray on Native American land and water defenders.
These people are we're threatening all of us with these dogs. And that woman over there, she was charging them and it bit somebody right in the face.
The dog has blood in its nose and its mouth.
And she's still standing here threatening you.
Why are you letting her dog go out? It's covered in blood. When we flew into North Dakota to challenge the criminal trespass charge against me on Friday, the state dropped that charge for lack of evidence and filed a new charge against me, riot. I'll be arraigned at the Morton County Court today at 1:30 p.m. North Dakota time. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Iraqi, Kurdish, and U.S. forces have launched a massive operation to retake Mosul, Iraq's second-largest city, which was seized by the self-proclaimed Islamic State in June of 2014. The United Nations is warning as many as 1 million people may be forced to flee their homes due to the offensive, which has been described as one of the biggest military operations in Iraq since the 2003 U.S.-led invasion. 3 members of a Kansas militia known as the Crusaders have been arrested for plotting to blow up an apartment complex in the western Kansas town of Garden City. The apartment complex is home to many Somali refugees and houses a mosque. All 3 militia members were white men in their late 40s. According to the FBI, the militia supported anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, and anti-government beliefs. Tom Bell is the acting U.S. attorney in Kansas.
It's alleged the defendants conducted surveillance to size up potential targets. They stockpiled firearms, ammunition, and explosive components. They even prepared a manifesto describing their beliefs to be published after the bombing. These charges are based on 8 months of investigation by the FBI that is alleged to have taken the investigators deep into a hidden culture of hatred and violence. Many Kansans may find it as startling as I have, that such things could happen here.
The FBI, which had an undercover agent in the militia, said the men were planning to carry out the attack on November 9th, one day after the presidential election. Local Somali residents responded with shock to the arrests.
I'm here in the United States like 15 years now. I never meet any problem except today when I had this information, and it makes me shocked and scary.
In climate news, nearly 200 nations have backed a legally binding deal to cut back on greenhouse gases used in refrigerators and air conditioners. Hydrofluorocarbon, or HFC gas, can be 10,000 times more potent than carbon dioxide in trapping heat in the atmosphere. Gina McCarthy, the head of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, praised the deal.
If you look at it, we are going to achieve somewhere in the order of 80 to 90% of the emission reductions from these chemicals. It is staggering what this will achieve. We're talking about an amount that's comparable to thousands of coal-fired power plant emissions. It's amazing.
WikiLeaks is continuing to publish more emails from the account of John Podesta, the chair of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. One newly published email revealed Clinton privately bashed environmentalists opposed to fracking and the Keystone XL pipeline. During a meeting with the Building Trades Union in September 2015, Clinton said the environmentalists should, quote, get a life. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump continues to claim the election has been rigged, alleging the media is conspiring with Hillary Clinton to defeat him.
You see what's happening? The process is rigged. This whole election is being rigged. These lies spread by the media, without witnesses, without backup or anything else, are poisoning the minds of the electorate. No witnesses, no backup, no anything else.
On Sunday, Donald Trump tweeted, "The election is absolutely being rigged by the dishonest and distorted media pushing crooked Hillary, but also at many polling places. Sad," he tweeted. Last week, Trump called the presidential election one big fix and one big ugly lie. Meanwhile, Trump supporter Milwaukee Sheriff David Clark tweeted out a photo of an angry mob saying it's, quote, pitchforks and torches time. Trump's claims of a rigged election have been criticized by some Republicans. Ohio Secretary of State John Husted said Trump was, quote, wrong and engaging in irresponsible rhetoric. In other campaign news, a ninth woman has come forward to say that Donald Trump inappropriately groped or kissed her. Kathy Heller said the incident took place at a Mother's Day brunch in the 90s at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in front of her husband and in-laws. Heller said, quote, he took my hand and grabbed me and went for the lips. In North Carolina, authorities are investigating the firebombing of the Republican headquarters in the town of Hillsborough. Police say somebody threw a Molotov cocktail into the building, setting off a fire. In addition, somebody spray-painted a swastika on an adjacent building with the message, Nazi Republicans leave town or else, unquote. The firebombing was denounced by leaders of both political parties in North Carolina. The state's governor, Pat McCrory, described the firebombing as a, quote, attack on our democracy. The United States and Britain are threatening new sanctions on Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and his supporters as the siege on eastern Aleppo continues. Secretary of State John Kerry urged Syria and Russia to stop bombing Aleppo.
It's a humanitarian disaster that is the largest humanitarian disaster since World War II. And it could stop tomorrow morning, tonight, if Russia and the Assad regime were to behave according to any norm or any standard of decency. But they've chosen not to.
Earlier today, 14 members of the same family were reportedly killed in an airstrike in eastern Aleppo. The dead included 2 6-week-old babies and 6 other children under the age of 8. Meanwhile, Doctors Without Borders is reporting that 4 hospitals and an ambulance in East Aleppo were bombed on Friday, making it one of the worst days yet for the city's collapsing health care system. In news from Africa, the New York Times is reporting the Obama administration's intensified a clandestine war in Somalia, with hundreds of U.S. Special Operations Forces carrying out ground raids targeting the Somalia-based militant group al-Shabaab. The U.S. is also carrying out drone strikes inside Somalia. Last month, a U.S. airstrike accidentally killed more than 20 Somali soldiers. In northern Brazil, more than 25 prisoners have reportedly died during what's been described as a fight between factions inside an overcrowded prison. 7 prisoners were beheaded, 6 were burned to death. Brazil has the 4th largest prison system in the world behind the United States, China, and Russia. Benita Browder has died at the age of 63. Her son, Khalif Browder, committed suicide in 2015 after spending 3 years at New York's Rikers Island jail without trial. after he was accused at the age of 16 of stealing a backpack. The family's lawyer, Paul Prestia, praised Vanita for tirelessly fighting for justice for her son, Khalif. He said, quote, "The stress from this crusade, coupled with the strain of the pending lawsuits against the city and the pain from the death, were too much for her to bear. In my opinion, she literally died of a broken heart," he said. In sports news, NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick started his first game of the year for the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday. Before the game, he continued his protest against racial oppression and police brutality by kneeling on one knee during the pre-game national anthem. After Sunday's game, Kaepernick defended his actions, which have sparked similar protests across the country.
I don't understand what's un-American about fighting for liberty and justice for everybody, for the equality that this country says it stands for. You know, to me, I see it as very patriotic and American to uphold the United States to the standards that it says it lives by. You know, that's something that needs to be addressed.
And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, DemocracyNow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We're broadcasting live from Mandan, North Dakota, just across the street from the Morton County Courthouse, where more than a half-dozen people will be appearing in court today on charges related to the ongoing resistance to the construction of the $3.8 billion Dakota Access Pipeline. In total, dozens of people who call themselves protectors, not protesters, have been arrested in recent months opposing the construction of the pipeline, including 14 people arrested Saturday amidst actions that delayed construction at multiple work sites. The pipeline has faced months of resistance from the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and members of hundreds of other tribes from across Latin America, the United States, and Canada. At least 3 people are due in court today on felony charges after locking themselves to heavy construction equipment. Morton County also issued an arrest warrant for me on September 8th, 5 days after Democracy Now! Released our on-the-ground video report from Labor Day weekend showing the Dakota Access Pipeline Company security guards physically assaulting nonviolent, mostly Native American land protectors, pepper spraying them, and unleashing attack dogs, one of which was shown with blood dripping from its nose and mouth.
These people are just threatening all of us with these dogs. And that woman over there, she was charging them, and it bit somebody right in the face.
The dog has blood in its nose and its mouth.
And she's still standing here threatening.
Why are you letting her dog go after the protesters? It's covered in blood. To see that full report, go to DemocracyNow.org. The original charge against me was criminal trespass. Yet on Friday, after we returned to North Dakota to challenge the charges and to continue covering the resistance to the Dakota Access Pipeline, we learned that the state's attorney, Ladd Erickson, had dropped the criminal trespass charge for lack of evidence, but had filed a new charge against me, riot. If Judge John Grinsteiner approves the new riot charge today, I'll be appearing in court today at 1:30 p.m. North Dakota time to challenge it. For updates throughout the day, go to DemocracyNow.org. But first, we bring you this new report of the actions against the Dakota Access Pipeline this past Saturday. Hundreds of people temporarily stopped work at multiple construction sites. One person reportedly delayed work for up to 6 hours by locking to an excavator. At least 14 people were arrested. Democracy Now! Team was on the ground. We began covering the action just after dawn from the main resistance camp in Cannonball, North Dakota. I'm Amy Goodman. This is Democracy Now! There was just a sunrise ceremony, and right now, after the ceremony, it was announced that 3 caravans would make their way, not clear to where, but to shut the pipeline down.
If you have room, there's a lot of people here on the front gate who need rides.
The caravan from the main resistance camp has stopped. There are sheriffs. We see their lights flashing, an MRAP armored personnel carrier also here. People are getting out with their signs that say things like endangered. You see license plates from the various tribes like the Rosebud Reservation. And above, we see a helicopter, a yellow helicopter. Can I ask you why you're out here today?
We're here for the protection of our water. We're here for our way of life. We're here for the unborn. We're here for the generations coming behind us. It's pretty sad that we have to do this. But there's powers greater than this pipeline. There's powers that's greater than anything that this money represents. So we believe in our prayer. They tell us this. The non-native people say, seeing is believing. With Lakota, we say, believing is seeing. So it will stop. It won't connect. That's our belief. That's why we're here.
So people have walked down the road, about 100, 200 people. They're carrying signs that say, defend the sacred. Greed kills. We are here to protect the water.
My name is Candy Brings Penny. I'm Oglala Lakota Sioux, and I'm part of the Two-Spirit Nation.
And can you tell us about the feather you're holding, the wing?
This is a feather wing that was gifted to me from Sundance, and this is a medallion that represents the Two-Spirit Nation.
What do you hope will be accomplished here today?
Today, I hope that they can finally feel and hear and see our prayers, and to know that we are a peaceful prayer for people, and that we are protecting our water for our future generations, and for all of those who are also supporting us in solidarity.
Today we are engaged in peaceful prayer. This is not a riot. We are out here standing up for Mother Earth, standing up for what's right. So just lately the court decided to lift the 20-mile zone that was on either side of Lake Oahe, and so now Dakota Access can continue to construct all the way up to the drill pad. The Army Corps of Engineers permits are still pending, still being reviewed, but as of right now they are full steam on board going through these lands and building their pipeline.
And can you tell us where you are right now?
We're just north of the pipeline route, and we're walking all together in peaceful prayer towards the actual pipeline because these are the lands that we have to protect.
Now, it was just said that police are amassing behind you. You all have decided to keep walking forward. What are you willing to risk here?
I think everyone here is willing to risk a lot. This is their children on the line. This is their children's children. And when your children are on the line, you're willing to risk just about anything. This is their futures. This is their drinking water. We're in a place where we're fracking the remaining water that we have left. It's madness. It's absolute madness.
Can you talk about why you're out here today?
I'm here to pray for the water and save this water for our future generations, and so they have clean water. They're healthy, and I'm just here to pray.
What's your name and how old are you?
My name's Kianda Hagen, and I'm 14 years old.
And where are you from?
Sistenwapton, Oyate.
What's your name and where are you from and why are you here today?
Irene, I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I am here because, to be honest, I didn't know why I was coming. I felt a calling and I came, I showed up, and I'm finding more and more that it is about the bigger picture for all of humanity. I believe we're all interconnected, and it's about water, because I'm thinking about Flint. I'm coming from Michigan. I'm thinking about Flint, thinking about Detroit, Kalamazoo, and I'm thinking allies, front lines, poor people, working people are affected the most, but eventually it's going to affect all of us. So we need to come together. The tribes, hundreds of tribes, have connected their histories, connected around this one purpose: to save the water, to protect sacred sites, and to protect our future generations. And I just, as an ally and an outsider, but an ally, I'd like to support that.
My name is David Montgomery. I'm from California. I'm Mono Chukchansi and Pitt River. My mom's Paiute Shoshone, Stillwater, Nevada. And I'm here to defend everything that we stand for as a people. And I think that, a lot of people have been through a lot of things from all nations. And this one, I think it's time for us to reclaim our status here and put the natural law back in order to save all people that live here and in the world, for that matter. But I feel really passionate about it. The love here for my people and all the people that come through and experience it, they all take something home that's really sacred. What we're doing here is really, really important, and all the world needs to know about it, because this is for all the world. And we need to change our way of thinking, our thinking patterns. There's more than one way to live, and the one that we've been shown through these corporations is that it ends. It doesn't go on forever.
Okay, we got some updates. We have a police blockade behind us, a few miles, 1 mile behind us. They're blocking the road. They're not letting any car pass this way. No way to take
We're looking at a police blockade right now. They're blocking the roads, blocking these water defenders from going into a public road.
Police liaison, escort these women to the front with 2 security, and we're gonna ask for permission to go through the line so we can all go and pray. This is what we're here for. We are here to pray for the land that has not been touched yet.
Scores of police officers are here with batons, some with rifles. The police are in riot gear, helmets, shields. They're saying, walk no further or you will be arrested.
You should be ashamed of yourself for your behavior today. You drink the water, as do the children, and your children will suffer. Energy Transfer Partners and Kelsey Warren, the CEO, needs to know that DAPL is endangering us all. We are an endangered species, as are you, and we stand here to protect you as well today. You should be ashamed of yourselves for showing up as we pray. With your batons out, trying to intimidate and harass us. But guess what? Our prayers are stronger than your weapons!
I'm here for my grandchildren, for my grandchildren's grandchildren, for your grandchildren. Will you hit us with those wands? We are women. We are unarmed. We are here to pray for you. Do you feel good holding those wands against a line of women? We are unarmed. Go back home and tell your wives, your mothers, your grandmothers that you are prepared to hit women with batons for exercising our right to free speech, our right to freedom of religion, our right to protect our land. You go home and you tell your mothers that. See how they feel.
A lot of us live off these lands. We hunt from these lands. We eat from these lands. We live here. Could you protect them while they destroy it? What you gonna do when there's no more grass growing, no more river flowing, no more wildlife, no more game to hunt? What you gonna do? You gonna depend on the government? Are you? No, you're not, because they're gonna backstab you just like they backstabbed us. Think about it. All you non-white people in there, think about it. Think about what the white man has done to your ancestors, what he's done to our ancestors. I'm not scared to come and say this to you guys. I come with no mask. This line, this security, don't intimidate me. I'm a warrior. I will defend my people. Woo! Woo! In my land, my home, Standing Rock. Myself in death or in prison, they will never finish that pipeline. Never!
My name is Brandon Sazu. I'm chairman of the Crow Creek Sioux Tribe.
What is it that you object to the most about the Dakota Access Pipeline?
They're going to poison our water. They are tearing our lands up. They're desecrating it. They have no morals up here. It's all about money. They're even taking from the farmers.
Do you think you will stop it from being built?
Oh, yeah, with my life.
My name is Sarah Hauska. I'm I'm a National Campaigns Director of Honor the Earth. I'm also an attorney, a tribal attorney, and what we're seeing is the militarized response to peaceful people who are praying, who are singing, who are trying to protect the lands and waters for us all. You know, we've seen they're calling this peaceful prayer a riot. They're calling us the terrorists. They're the ones who are armed. These are unarmed men, women, and children who want nothing more than protect their own waters and protect it for all future generations. We pray for those who pray. We do. We pray for those who pray. We're praying for their children and their children's children. This response is so excessive to what we're doing here. Every person here is unarmed.
And can you tell us about, has there been an action right beyond where they are, where the pipeline is being built?
There is an action to actually stop construction. They went out early this morning. You know, there are folks that are actively preventing active construction in a safe and you know, non-violent way. You know, nothing that we're doing is violent. Yet they're sending out. We see overhead. There's helicopters, police helicopters, Dakota Access helicopters. You know, constant surveillance over people that want nothing more than protect the water and the land for us all.
The Native American water and land protectors, hundreds who walked up to the site just beyond which we believe people have locked down at an excavation site for the pipeline, are now walking back. They said they came in peace and they are leaving in peace. One of the signs that they carried as they walked away, imagine the end of the pipeline. I'm Amy Goodman here in North Dakota. When we come back, we'll speak with Dave Archambault, chair of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, which has sued the federal government over the Dakota Access Pipeline. We're broadcasting from in front of the Morton County Courthouse and Jail. Stay with us.
Yeah, warriors, we rise. Here she comes, a warrior of the sun. A woman rose up, told us rebel. I don't want our children lost in hell. Unite your heart and find a way. Better clear up your mind and hear her say, run into the skies at her eastern dawn. You will find a child, better keep her strong. She will lead you off in a victory. She will tell you all your history. She will show you all the medicine. She will show you how to live again. She will stop the rebellion. She will stop the rebellion. And take control. And take control. Rebel now and save your soul. Better rebel now and save your soul. Here she.
Warrior of the Sun by Indigenize. This is Democracy Now!, DemocracyNow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We're broadcasting live from Mandan, North Dakota, just across the street from the Morton County Courthouse and Jail, where more than a half-dozen people will be appearing in court today on charges related to the ongoing resistance to the construction of the $3.8 billion Dakota Access Pipeline. Roughly 140 people have been arrested in total amidst the ongoing resistance. Just behind us, there is a monument of the 10 Commandments on the courthouse property, just in between the courthouse and the jail. Well, we're turning right now to the legal resistance to the Dakota Access Pipeline. On October 9th, the Federal Appeals Court rejected a bid by the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe to halt construction on part of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The ruling by the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals paves the way for the Dakota Access Company to resume construction on private lands adjacent to Lake Wahe on the Missouri River. A decision on whether the pipeline can proceed under the river rests with the Army Corps of Engineers. The Standing Rock Tribe argued construction of the $3.8 billion pipeline is destroying cultural artifacts and sacred sites including a sacred tribal burial ground that was bulldozed September 3rd, that's Labor Day weekend, when Dakota Access Pipeline guards unleashed dogs and pepper spray on Native Americans. Since then, members of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and others have set up an encampment across the street from the bulldozed burial ground. They call it the Sacred Ground Camp. This is Nathan Yellow Lodge, Jr., a member of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe.
We're standing up here where the dogs attack took place, which once was the front lines, and now they call it Ground Zero.
You've set up camp here?
Yeah, I've been here since September 3rd.
Why?
I feel that I'm needed up here. And there's nothing more, nothing less. I really like being where I'm at because this is my home turf.
The appeals court ruling means the Dakota Access Pipeline Company can continue construction up until but not under the Missouri River. Following the ruling, the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and members of hundreds of indigenous nations who've gathered at the Standing Rock Reservation said they'll continue to fight the Dakota Access Pipeline. Dave Archambault, chair of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, said, quote, "We will not rest until our lands, people, waters, and sacred places are permanently protected from this destructive pipeline," unquote. Well, for more, we're joined by Dave Archambault, chair of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. Welcome back to Democracy Now!
Thank you, Amy.
Except now I'm in your state.
Yeah.
So can you talk about where this all stands right now? There's been a court decision, a federal appeals decision, and then there's been executive agency intervention as well.
When I look at the court, I don't have any confidence in the judicial system because it has failed Indian country for over 200 years. So I have to start looking at what are these three agencies really considering, and they're looking at reviewing the whole process, the way the permit was given. They're also looking at how do we consult with tribes better, which I think is a good thing, because anytime there's an infrastructure project coming near or close or within tribal lands, we should have a say. And that's what everybody's starting to look at. But it also put a stay on everything from going underneath the Missouri River.
Now, but the court decisions, both Judge Boasberg in Washington, and you testified in this court, and also the appeals court, they completely ruled against the tribe. They said you would not get the injunction?
Right. The first hearing, they said there's no injunction, and then the second one was just to keep the construction from happening within 20 miles on both sides of the Missouri River. We had to prove irreparable harm, and we had to say it's the best interest of public. We weren't able to do that, but in the ruling, they were able to tell us that the company does not have an easement. Because they don't have an easement, that sent the message to us saying that there might be something there. They understand that something's wrong, and the administration needs to pick up on that signal. And we're hoping that the Department of Corps, or the Corps of Engineers, Department of Army, hear that, and when they see that, they don't grant the easement.
Now, just to go back, right after the first decision, like 15 minutes after the first decision, and then right after the second decision, either Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Weekend, this three-agency unprecedented letter from the Justice Department, the Interior, and the Army reiterated that they would not give this permit under the Missouri River at this moment, and that there needs to be government-to-government negotiations. You, Standing Rock Sioux, you're the chair, and the U.S. government?
Yes, and I think that's something that we could consider a win, because this is something that hasn't happened for over 200 years. Tribes have not been recognized, they have been ignored, and anytime infrastructure projects like this come near, we are invisible. And so to have this consultation, government-to-government relationship now surface, it means a lot.
Has it begun?
The consultation has begun, and they're trying to get feedback on what is meaningful consultation to tribes. There was a consultation in Phoenix, and they're having 5 more coming up in Minnesota, Billings, Rapid City.
And who is consulting from the U.S. government side, and who's consulting from the tribal side?
We're asking that tribal leaders be present, and anybody who's interested in assisting in defining what meaningful consultation means. And we're hoping that the department heads are there at the consultation so they can actually hear what it means to us.
Now, one of the things I learned covering this that I was surprised by is that the pipeline actually originally was not slated to be going through native country, but above Bismarck, above the city of Bismarck, and right here in Mandan, North Dakota. And both city councils said no. They didn't want to risk the possibility of contamination.
Yeah, and we are told that this route that they chose, that is just feet away from our reservation, is the least impactful. But when you look at why is it the least impactful, they'll say because there's wetlands, there's drinking water for population, there are cultural sites. We have all those same things where we're at. And there's always this attempt to say, we can make this the safest pipeline ever. But if they can do that, then why not leave it here? Why not put it up here north of Bismarck if it can be so safe? But it's no, we want to make it safe, and you won't have to worry about anything. There's no risk to you or your people. I can't buy that. If they can make it safe, then they should put it where it's out of our treaty lands. And what I look at is that these pipelines that are being proposed, there's this one and the other. We need to start looking at pipelines that are already under the river. There's pipelines that are dredged only 6 feet underneath the bed of the river, and they're built with in the 70s and 80s steel. That isn't the best steel, and those pose a threat to us. So there's an opportunity for us to take a look at what pipelines are currently there, and not continue to build new pipelines, but upgrade the existing ones to reduce the threat. And that's what Standing Rock's position has always been: protect the water.
Chairman Archambault, what are the treaties that are violated here?
Well, we had a treaty in 1851, and it was a peace treaty. As long as we remain peaceful with people coming into our territory, they'll define the boundary, and they'll protect that boundary for us. This is with the federal government, and it was by the U.S. Congress, ratified by the President of the United States. More and more people kept coming and encroaching on it, so they had to reduce the land base and enter into a new treaty in 1868. Then there was gold discovered in the Black Hills. So what it is it's looking at economic development, national security, and looking at the resources around and whose lands are going to be used to achieve that, to accomplish that. And more than often it's indigenous people's lands, and those are violations on those original treaties, and we see the same thing happening today. We have lands, treaty lands, that are being encroached on, and we know that there are sacred places there, and we know that the pipeline needs to stay away from those sacred places, but they continue to come and desecrate those sacred places.
I wanted to ask you about where we are right now, Mandan, North Dakota, just about an hour from the reservation, from Sacred Rock. Right behind us, the county jail and the county courthouse. You've been arrested for your resistance to the pipeline. Why did you choose to get arrested?
I can't say that it was a choice that I made. I would say that it was a moment, and there was a lot of emotion going on that day, and I reacted to some things that were going on, and one thing led to another, and then I was arrested.
So you were brought here?
Yes.
Brought to the jailhouse?
Yes.
What were you charged with?
Disorderly conduct.
So it's a misdemeanor, low-level
Yes.
misdemeanor.
Yes.
Were you strip searched?
Yes.
Is this common that for disorderly conduct you're strip searched?
I wouldn't know, because that was the first time I ever got arrested. But you know, when I thought it was humorous because I had to take all my clothes off, and then they wanted to check my braid and I don't have a very thick braid for any weapons to hide, but so I thought it was pretty crazy and unnecessary to do a strip search and to check my hair, but I accept it. That's how it was.
And just as we're here today, more police have come to the courthouse, and they're carrying their riot gear. We certainly saw a lot of that on Saturday. Huge police presence as these nonviolent land and water defenders march down the road, again expressing concern about the Dakota Access Pipeline. What about this militarization?
You know, it's something that I don't really understand, because if you look at resistance in other states, this pipeline goes through 5 different states, and you don't see neighboring highway patrol coming in to assist those states. You see, and we've always tried to maintain that this is a peaceful and prayerful demonstration, but what you see is instances where the risk is getting heightened, and it's being created like that because of the additional law enforcement, the additional riot gear, and neighboring states coming in, neighboring counties, a call for sheriffs across the nation to assist the Morton County Sheriff. All of that is unnecessary. If you look at the actions that have been taking place in North Dakota and compare them to other actions in other states.
Interestingly, the Dane County, Wisconsin sheriff said he's withdrawing his deputies. We bumped into them on Saturday, actually. They're going home because I think one of the legal advisors was arrested, who was here from Wisconsin, and said this is controversial, we shouldn't be a part of this.
Yeah, you know, it's just this disturbing because law enforcement, this isn't a fight between the protectors and the law enforcement. This is a simple issue, that is protect the water. And it's always been about protect the water. And it seems like it's a distraction to say the protectors are being unlawful and they're trying to incite riots. There's no riots happening here. So we take our attention away from protecting water, look at the number of law enforcement who's coming, look at what they're using, and then start making an issue about riot. It's not a riot.
Finally, I wanted to ask you about President Obama coming to Cannonball, coming to the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. I believe it's the first sitting president to go to a Native American reservation. Was that right?
There were 3 presidents. Roosevelt, I think, was one. Bill Clinton went to the Ogallala Reservation, and then President Obama had come to Standing Rock.
And he came to Standing Rock, to your tribe, 2014. What did he promise you then, and what is he telling you now?
You know, when the president came, I wanted to show him what reality was. And I asked our children to share stories with him, and they did. And I felt that the president and the first lady was moved by their visit. And what we saw was a lot of, for the first time, policies to help Indian country, to help Indian children. Today, I don't know if we would have had 3 administrations stop what's happening if it wasn't for the sitting president.
You mean the 3 agencies?
Yep. Department of Interior, Department of Army, Department of Justice. Those are all underneath the administration. And the president was posed the question, what is he doing about this? And he had to learn more. He had the information, and the next one thing led to another. He did so much for Indian country that it's resting on this issue, on what he does now, his legacy. And then we're just hoping that he does the right thing.
And what would that right thing be?
Stop this pipeline, don't give it easement, ask for a full environmental impact statement.
Well, Chairman Dave, thanks so much for being with us. The chairman of the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, Dave Archambault. When we come back, we're going to speak to 2 members of Honor the Earth. We're broadcasting from North Dakota. This is Democracy Now! Stay with us.
Our children dance to the rhythm of machine gun fire, dressed in the clothes of the dead, rehearsing their dreams on the front lines of the war inside their heads. They're sleep caged against their fear. They're trying not to become what they've endured, wearing their souls on the thread. The moment of silence is over. And for the innocent, you can't justify why your freedom manifests on their graves. And the blood never comes clean from the guilty minds, nor the hands that hold the chains. In a rhythm of resistance, we still fight for our lives. In this war that never ended, we've outgrown your lives. Let our actions speak when they ignore our words. For all the lies, there's a truth that must be heard. After all the lies and the empty promises, we take a stand on the land that you tried to bury us. For all the pain and all the suffering.
This is Democracy Now!, DemocracyNow.org, the War and Peace Report. We're broadcasting live from outside the courthouse and jail in Mandan, North Dakota. Water and land protectors, as they call themselves, report facing increasing repression amidst the ongoing resistance to the $3.8 billion Dakota Access Pipeline. Police have begun deploying military-grade equipment, including armored personnel carriers, surveillance helicopters, planes, and drones. North Dakota Governor Jack Dalrymple activated the National Guard in late September. Roughly 140 people have been arrested. Some report being strip-searched in custody at the Morton County Jail, even when they're facing minor misdemeanor charges. This is Dr. Sarah Jumping Eagle, a pediatrician on the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, a member of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe.
When I was taken to the jail, first I was taken by a corrections officer, transported from the protest site to the Morton County Jail. And then when they took me in there, you know, they had to take some basic information. And then one of the things that they do is have you go into a small room, and there was a female officer there, and we had to take my clothes off, and then I don't know, basically
cavity search?
No, not a cavity search, but I had to squat and cough. That's what she said. I had to squat and cough and then put the orange suit on.
So you were put in an orange jumpsuit?
Yeah, I was put in an orange jumpsuit, and then I was held there for several hours. And initially, my family didn't know where I was, or didn't, they heard about it pretty quickly, and were able to come and bond me out or bail me out. I don't know what you call it, but I was in there for several hours.
How did it make you feel?
It made me feel, it made me think about, my ancestors and what had they gone through. And this was in no way a comparison to what we've survived before. So it just made me feel more determined about what I'm doing and why I'm here.
That's Dr. Sarah Jumping Eagle, a pediatrician, member of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. She was charged with disorderly conduct. LaDonna Braveville Allard, who founded the first resistance camp, the Sacred Stone Camp, on her own land April 1st, says her daughter was recently arrested, taken into custody at the Morton County Jail, strip searched in front of multiple male officers, then left for hours in her cell naked and freezing before the guards finally gave her clothes to wear. LaDonna Allard says her daughter was repeatedly asked by guards, "Who is your mother?" which Allard sees as an indication that her daughter was targeted because of who she is. Cody Hall from Cheyenne River Reservation in South Dakota says he was also strip searched after he was arrested Friday, September 9th, held for 3 days without bail or bond, and then charged with 2 misdemeanors.
As I exited out of the vehicles and entered Morton County, I came up an elevator, and as the elevator door opened up, I was met with state police. And then, of course, Morton County people are there to book people, but and then from there started the process of the booking, and then again, went into a private room where they asked you to, get naked. They had my arms, they kind of like a extend your arms out, and you're fully naked, and they have you, lift up your genitals and, bend over, cough. And so it's really one of those tactics that they try to break down your mentalness of everyday life, because not every day do you wake up and say, hey, I'm going to get naked and have somebody search me today. That's a private that's a private feeling for you when you get naked. So.
And 4 days later, when you were finally released, they hadn't allowed you to go out on bail or bond for those 4 days. You came before a judge in the orange jumpsuit?
Yes. I sat in the court office in my orange jumpsuit, locked, still handcuffed, exited out of the courtroom, and as I left the courtroom, there were 20 or so state police, all in their bulletproof vests, everything, just looking, like they're going into action of some sort. And then they literally had a line from the courtroom to the door that connects you to the county jail, and my mother walked out with me, and as we got to the door, they were opening the door up, and as I looked behind me, my mother and I, all of the cops then proceeded to kind of swarm, like make, that big wall, as I entered in, which was again an overkill, but that too, though, to show a dominant force. That was
Cody Hall, who was arrested on 2 misdemeanors, held for 4 days, strip searched here at the Morton County Jail just behind us. Well, for more on the resistance to the Dakota Access Pipeline, the police crackdown, we're joined by 2 guests. Winona LaDuke, Native American activist, executive director of the group Honor the Earth. She lives and works on the White Earth Reservation in northern Minnesota. And we're joined by Tara Hauska, national campaigns director for Honor the Earth. She's a Ojibwe from the Cochiching First Nation. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Winona, let's start with you. We have spoken to you intermittently through this resistance. Where does it stand now?
Well, as far as we are in, I'm just looking at the big picture. Right now, there is about 900,000 barrels per day of oil coming out of this state, and they project that into 2019. And so what I'm trying to understand is that if that's all they have, and it's already going out, why do they need another pipeline of 570,000 barrels of oil per day? In other words, they're already meeting all the demand. For the next 2 years, that's all the oil that's in there. And this is really what we call this is the Dakota excess pipeline.
The Dakota Excess.
The Dakota Excess Pipeline. This is really about spites. It's really about spite.
What do you mean?
It's just really about hating. You know, it's just really about trying to put some in across these tribes. It's exactly what the chairman and you said before. If they wanted this pipeline so damn bad, they should have put it north of Bismarck. You know, and they should not have violated the law. The whole pipeline was approved through something called the Nationwide Permit number 12, which means they could cut it into a lot of little pieces and never do an EIS and pretend like, you know, that's intended for like if you have like a pipeline from a school to the water service center or something like that. It's not intended for a 1,600-mile pipeline. Total misuse of the law, you know, and the president really needs to intervene and uphold the law.
Tara Houska, you have been following these protests and the level of militarization in response to the protests. You were there on Saturday. We spoke to you at one of these peaceful marches of hundreds of Native Americans.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this incredibly militarized response from North Dakota that has been so over the top in reaction to Native Americans peacefully protesting, praying for the land, praying for the water. These are women and children that are out there. I mean, we saw the most recent one on Indigenous Peoples Day. They had Native Americans out there praying for the land. They put a teepee up in front of the actual pipeline route, and they called that a riot. There's nobody there rioting. They're doing that as North Dakota is doing that as it's increasing the amount of militarized response, militarized force. They're calling in other sheriffs from other states. They're upping this incredible amount of police force for no reason.
Well, all for this pipeline. Winona, who profits from this pipeline? Who owns this pipeline?
Well, Enbridge, you know, we just spent 4 years fighting Enbridge. And Enbridge and Marathon Oil just bought a third of this pipeline.
You fought them in northern Minnesota.
We fought them in northern Minnesota, and in August they announced that they had canceled the Sandpiper, which was the 640,000 barrel per day oil pipeline, pipeline from here, fracked oil pipeline they wanted to put across our territory. We defeated that pipeline, and they came out here and moved out here. But, you know, I think that the whole context that you're talking about is really important. This is pretty much the deep north. That's what it is. Nobody's been paying attention to what's happening in North Dakota. They've been flying over it, hopes it work out for y'all. And in the meantime, Indian arrests have been consistent. There's no infrastructure. Native people are treated like, you know, third-class citizens. You know, suicide rates, everything's going on. And, you know, the governor's acting like this is Mississippi up here, and you can just do that. And now people are finally noticing. But it's been going on for a long time up here, and this is, you know, finally a flashpoint where people are saying that's enough. We're not going to let you take our water. We're not going to let you destroy that which is ours.
You know, after Ferguson, the whole country saw the level of militarization of local police departments. You were there, Tara, where there was an MRAP. There's a armored personnel carrier at this peaceful protest where you offered the police water, clean water, right?
We did. You know, Indigenous women went up there and we offered the police water, sage, and sweetgrass. Yep. And, you know, trying to show that we are peaceful, that we are doing this for not only our children, but their children, too. This is a people issue. Water is a people issue.
What inspires you most, Tara?
I think it's incredibly inspiring to go out there and to see, a line of police like that and an MRAP. And, you know, we've seen sound cannons, there's helicopters flying overhead. And there's this little group of Native American people and their allies that are out there standing there defiant and, you know, trying to defend their people and their land.
Not so little, Winona. I mean, we've never seen a unification like this in decades. Thousands of people from hundreds of tribes across three, Canada, the United States, and Latin America.
Well, and it's not just Native people. There's a lot of other people. I mean, the woman who was charged, Rebecca Kimball, is an alderwoman. In Wisconsin. She wasn't just a regular person, but Dane County sent out their cops because they are also looking at a pipeline, Line 66, which is the biggest tar sands pipeline.
We're going to have to leave it there, but we're going to do part 2 and post online at DemocracyNow.org. Winona LaDuke and Tara Houska of Honor the Earth. That does it for the show. Democracy Now! Is broadcasting live from Mandan, North Dakota, across from the Morton County Courthouse and Jail. I'll be appearing in court today at 1:30 p.m. to challenge a new riot charge against me stemming from Democracy Now!'s Labor Day coverage of the Dakota Access Pipeline guards pepper spraying and sicking dogs on Native Americans. For updates throughout the day, go to DemocracyNow.org. Special thanks today to Laura Gottesdiener, Mike Burke, Dennis Moynihan, John Hamilton. I'm Amy Goodman. This is Democracy Now! Thanks so much for joining us.